If budgeting already feels restrictive to you, if you already feel guilty when you're spending money, and if you swing between cutting everything and overspending later, a no spend challenge can just reinforce the idea that spending money is bad. I just finished a 3 month no spend challenge, and honestly, I don't know if I would recommend it for most people, especially after doing one for myself. I realized something that I didn't really expect. If you're new here, I'm Brienne. I'm a CPA and I make videos about personal finances, budgeting, and just overall building money habits that actually work in real life. And at the end of 2025, I decided that I wanted to do a 3 month no spend challenge in the first quarter of 2026. Not because I was in any financial trouble or because I felt as though I was constantly overspending, though it was the holiday season, so you do tend to spend a bit more then. But it was really because I thought it would be a good idea because I've seen a lot of people talk about doing them. And also, I wanted to test if the system would really help change any habits. But after actually doing the challenge, I realized something really interesting. For a lot of people, a no spend challenge isn't going to really fix the real issues they have with their finances. So, in this video, I want to talk about why I decided to do it, what actually happened during those 3 months, what surprised me the most, and what I think would actually work better if you're really trying to fix your money habits long term. So, first, if I'm saying that I didn't really have any financial troubles and I wasn't constantly overspending, why did I really do this challenge in the first place? I like experimenting systems. I like trying different methods that other people feel helps them fix their money habits and seeing if it'll work for me. And honestly, after the holidays, the beginning of the year just always kind of feels like a good time to reset. I like to say that I'm pretty good with my finances, but I wanted to see if there were any areas that were leaking without me actually knowing. If cutting out unnecessary spending would actually make a meaningful difference in my life. And honestly, if I could become even more intentional with my spending habits. So I basically set a rule for myself. No impulse purchases, no random extras, just essentials and intentional spending. And at first, to be honest, it really felt productive. But as the months moved on, I started to notice something. One of the biggest things I noticed is that I still ate out during this challenge, even though that wasn't technically a part of the rules. But I didn't go over my eating out budget. And to be honest, most months I was still pretty under. And that made me realize something important. I used to think that eating out was a problem category for me, but doing this challenge made me realize that it actually wasn't. I already have a budget for it, so I plan for it, and most of the times I usually stick within my budget. So eliminating it completely didn't really change anything for me. It honestly just added tension where there didn't need to be tension. Now, groceries, that was a little bit different. That's probably the category in my budget where I see the most room for improvement. And again, it's not because I'm wildly overspending, but it's just because I know I can be a little bit more intentional. Better planning, less waste, actually using what I have before buying more. But doing the no spend challenge didn't magically fix that either. It did make me aware of it though, and that's probably the biggest realization. The challenge itself didn't really change my behavior, and I think that's because I've done a good job of building pretty good systems that help support my finances. I automate my savings and investing. I track my expenses regularly. I pay my credit cards on time. So I had to take a step back and ask myself, if the important priorities are already taken care of, what exactly am I proving by restricting myself? And that's the question that kept coming back to me throughout this entire challenge. But honestly, the biggest thing I realized in this challenge had nothing to do with groceries and eating out. It had to do with how people think about spending in the first place. And this is where I think a lot of no spend challenges quietly backfire. Because the issue usually isn't spending, the issue usually is the system behind the spending. Now, I want to be clear, I don't think no spend challenges are automatically bad. For some people, they may help as a short reset, but I also think they can create problems for people who already have a complicated relationship with money. If budgeting already feels restrictive to you, if you already feel guilty when you're spending money, and if you swing between cutting everything and overspending later, a no spend challenge can just reinforce the idea that spending money is bad and that being good with money means not spending. But spending isn't the problem. Unintentional spending is. Spending that doesn't align with your priorities is. But spending within a plan, that's literally the point of having the plan. If your system is broken, a no spend challenge might reduce the damage temporarily, but it doesn't fix the underlying habits. And if your system is already working well, it might just create unnecessary tension. And that's kind of where I landed with it. It didn't feel empowering. It mostly just felt tense. And I don't want my finances to feel tense. Now, if you're watching this thinking, Okay, so what do you do instead? There are a couple things that I think work better than a no spend challenge. One option is doing a savings challenge instead. For example, every time you think to impulse buy something, move that money to your savings instead. Or if you come under budget in a category this month, move that extra money to your savings. That builds forward progress. Another option is doing a habit challenge. Track every purchase for 30 days. Plan your groceries more intentionally. Use what you already have before buying more. These types of challenges help you actually understand your spending habits because the goal isn't to avoid spending forever. The goal is to make better decisions. For me, the biggest shift is this. Instead of asking, can I buy this? I'd rather ask, does this align with what I said I wanted? Because if I already allocated my money in the budget for something and I spend within that category, I didn't do anything wrong. That's not failure. That's just following the plan. And I think a lot of people don't need more restrictions. They need better systems, they need clarity, and they need a plan that's actually going to fit their real life. So, would I do a no spend challenge again? Honestly, no. And not because it was terrible, it just honestly didn't solve anything for me. What I care more about is building systems that make managing my money easier and more intentional, not just avoiding spending. If you found this video helpful, make sure you like this video and subscribe to my channel. And I'm curious to hear from you. Have you ever done a no spend challenge? And if you did, do you think it honestly fixed your habits long term? Let me know in the comments.